Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is PewDiePie and I have a question for you.
Mommy, what's a fallen Chungus?
Have you ever seen this comic? These stupid little characters have permeated the entire internet at this point. You cannot escape them. But what you may not know is that the guy who made them has a crazy story. Dude, imagine being in Twitter beef with your f***ing aunt. Imagine being in Twitter beef with your aunt and your stepdad. This is a place you never, if you ever find yourself at this point, you gotta just quit. You gotta just quit, go get a job at Best Buy and you can get hired by Mr. Beast later, okay? Don't do this. Don't do this, man. He managed to get over 100,000 followers on Twitter in just a few months. And then in one single week, his career was destroyed. I've known a lot of people who have had step-parents that have put them in abusive situations, all right? Some of them beat them. Some of them touch them where they don't want to be touched. But my dad, he ratioed me on Twitter. And at that point, I knew I couldn't go on any longer. So today, we're going to find out why. Now, you guys may remember a little bit ago on my channel, we covered Fallen Chungus, all right? The story of a Twitter artist who had a very bad sort of public crash out, some may say, okay? Which in fairness, respect to him, he did manage to crash in. So the fact he even crashed in the first place and had the opportunity to crash out, I do respect. But there's a video that's been on my recommended called The Fall of Chungus with one of the funniest thumbnails I've ever seen in my life. This guy makes anime videos, and then he just made a video called The Fall of Chungus. With, is this Evangelion? I think this is Ava, right? That's what this is? I haven't seen it, but my understanding is that that's what this is right here, okay? It's got a Chud meme right when we hover over it.
This is a video that I've struggled to make for the last 4 months. Either the topic has changed and the whole trajectory of the video was thrown all out of whack, or school and other commitments would just crop up and I'd be too busy to sit down and just edit a video. But finally, here we are. Today, we're going to be delving into the recesses of utter degeneracy and levels of terminally online that even for me, someone who is terminally online, can't describe. From doxxing to baiting to harassment and even a brief stint of homelessness, this is the ongoing saga of Fallen Chungus.
Dude, it's still so messed up in my mind that his name is Fallen Chungus. Like you have to call him Fallen Chungus. Like imagine already it's autistic to be like, did you hear about the Mr. Beast drama going on right now? Did you hear about the Mr. Beast? Oh, Mr. Beast situation's crazy, right? It's already kind of nuts. But to have to say to someone, did you hear about the Fallen Chungus drama? I think if a child from Victorian England heard the name Fallen Chungus, they would just have a mental breakdown. It would be over for them. Okay? It would literally be over. They would spontaneously combust. They would be dragged into hell. If you know the name Fallen Chungus, which at this point is all of you in my chat, you're all done. You're all done, dude. You're all done. One-way ticket straight to hell, boys. Little Victorian girl says,
Mommy, what's a fallen Chungus?
Fallen Chungus, or Francis, was born on May 22nd, 2006. There isn't really much information about his early life or even childhood, as most of it is private or was found out via doxing, which we'll get into later. What we do know is that from an early age, Francis had a natural affinity towards art and video games, especially Roblox, Sonic, and later FNF. For most
damn, he's just like me for real. Except, well, I did play some Roblox when I was younger. I played a little bit. Played some Roblox for sure. Okay, some Phantom Forces was definitely in the cards. There was also this Roblox game called, I think it was called Apocalypse Rising, I think is what it was called. It was kind of like a DayZ, but in Roblox type game. Open world, all these buildings you can go into. You drop into the server, and then you collect resources, basically, right? That was the whole deal. And you kill zombies, and it was fun. It was fun. I liked that quite a bit, and it was free. I also played a little bit of Unturned, which is not Roblox, but it does have the blocky aesthetic. Mummy, what's a Fallen Chungus? I don't know, sweetie. I'm just a chill guy. Why'd you type it like sweaty? You realize when you type things SWEATY, that's sweaty. If you're saying sweetie, it should be SWEETIE, okay? If you're saying sweetie. I don't know, sweaty. Just calling him sweaty.
Most of his time on the internet, he remained relatively unknown, making custom games on Roblox, posting art on Twitter, and just being a relatively normal kid who had access to the internet at an early age. That is until March 28th, 2024, where Francis posted a comic that would propel his status on Twitter to the stratosphere, the infamous Bro Visited His Friend comic. While in years past, some of his older comics like the Dark
Okay. I'm gonna R-word you. Dude, what the freak? Ever heard of Dark Humor Buddy? That's true. This guy on the left is literally me. This guy is literally my every social interaction I've ever had. This is me. This is my life.
Humor Buddy, or the He Helped Me Through a Rough Time.
Look, man, he helped me through a very tough time, so he means a lot to me, okay? You just gotta respect it. Has this ever happened? Has this interaction literally ever happened once? They are very iconic comics, in fairness. You know, I see why they got so popular. The simple designs kind of harkens to a, kind of a Wojak type thing, can kind of put your own meaning in it as much as you want.
Comic saw some relative popularity, it was this meme that clicked with people. It was simple to redraw, it was fun, it was open to edits, and more importantly, it was quite funny, as conversations like what I presented in the comic have probably happened to you in your—
Yeah, so I went to visit my friend. Bro visited his friend. This one is real. This one is so real, dude. Dude, YouTube chat, YouTube comments are so cooked. They're so done. I posted a video about the most serious thing ever. Top comment is, Tom really the type of guy to float in the air when he smells a pie. Tom the type of guy to get a bad haircut. Tom needs to talk about the haircut. This is how it is. Talk more about Skibidi or something, okay? Tom, I'm sitting in the break room. Can you yell at me to motivate me to go back to work? I hate my job. Pour sulfuric acid in all of the product. Enjoy life.
Hey there! Looks like you didn't heed my warning, did you, little guy? Apparently, my message was lost on all of you. I said never goon. Not even once. Which is why I made this new swag t-shirt. See this t-shirt right here? We've got this beautiful runic writing, ancient manuscripts to remind you of what you can never do. It's got this epic death metal font you can kind of read sometimes, and an extremely tasteful acid wash to make it look more vintage for all you vintage kids out there who can't stop thinking about vintage things. It's vintage. Buy it, it's vintage. But it's getting so gosh darn cold out here. I mean, how am I supposed to not goon to keep warm? What am I gonna do? Oh, that's right. I made a pullover.
I heard that you've been gooning. What did I tell you, you fool, you little gooner? The scarecrow beckons. It is said by the Ancient One that gooning brings on unforeseen Euclidean horrors.
What does Euclidean mean? I don't know. Euclidean is a word. Euclid. SCP! It's also acid wash. We've got some cool designs here on the sleeves, on the front, on the back. We've got some cool imagery, messaging. It's good merch, okay? That's the point. It's good merch. It's high quality. I'm not even trying to talk it up too much here, but it is good merch. And if you like it, it's a great way to support the channel. And it's available only on turkeytom.shop for a limited time right now. And when it's gone, you won't be able to get it again. So, yeah. Thanks for buying. If you don't buy it, thanks for watching. But buy it. And don't goon. Or whatever, never goon, whatever you do.
Buy my merch, and whatever you do, never goon.
And for the rest of the month, Francis capitalized on his newfound stardom and posted comics and memes like it was running out of style, with each one growing more popular than the last. This is where things started to go wrong, as a little-known message board called Soy Jack Party grew a bit annoyed with how big the bro visited his friend meme had gotten, and just how much Fallen Chungus was growing. A quick aside, Soy Jack Party is a message board / internet archive that catalogs and creates soy jacks. What's a soy jack? Look at this video.
Aww. Yes! Yes!
It essentially is a drawing of a Wojak with features and expressions that alludes to being a, well, soy boy.
Do not even compare Soy Jack Party to Wojaks. They hate that, dude. They fucking hate that. They hate that comparison completely. The Wojak is not the same as the Soy Jack. There's a delineation now in the lore. If you refer to the Soy Jack as anything close to a Wojak, it's over for you, dude. It's literally over for you. Like, it's done. It's done.
Listen, they started getting popular back in 2016, so understand where the language comes from. Soy Jack Party, or how they call themselves Shardy,
I know, hilarious.
are usually pretty tame.
It is hilarious. Saying Shardy is hilarious. That is funny, okay? Shardy is funny, all right? The Shardy has a crazy lore. They have a crazy lore to the entire website with all the previous owners, like coups and like all these like wars they've had. Like what is it called? It's like the Soy Rumvirate or something. They have this crazy lore. I was researching it at one point. They have a crazy story over in that website, man. And it's like, you wouldn't think that such a small website would be so influential because they have such a like relatively small base of users compared to like other forums. And it is an alt chan at the end of the day, so you'd be like, okay, it's probably not going to be that big. But Shardy has a fucking huge lore, okay? Crazy. One of the craziest stories in the entire internet. Tom, you're a living soy jack while I'm a base Wojak? Okay, buddy. Keep telling yourself that. Shardy like a melody in my head.
Tame and are just guilty of being kind of edgy. That is until you annoy them enough. Then, well, the doxing, harassment, and trolling begins. So, on April 9th, 2024, a new post on /raid was made, and the plan was quite simple. Redraw some of Fallen Chungus' comics and quote-unquote gem them up a little bit. What does that mean? Well, well, make them racist and offensive. Since the art style was so simple and easy to replicate, many users on Twitter were fooled into thinking that Fallen Chungus was a racist. Now, did this in the beginning have a really big impact? Not really. Most of these comics went underground or were downright ignored by most people and Fallen Chungus' fanbase. That was until Francis decided to respond to some of the fake comics and call out Shardy for their
What'd he say here?
Until Francis decided to respond to some of the
Genuinely can't believe I have to say this, but I didn't make this comic. It was made by one of Tommy Trouser's friends. Who is Tommy Trouser? If you see any comics that look like they're made by me but have a racist message, they're not made by me. Please just leave me alone. Look, I feel some empathy for him because he wants to, he wants to dispel the racism allegations, but at the same time, like, acknowledging when people are trolling you is the first mistake of being trolled. If you acknowledge it and you acknowledge that you're upset by it, they already won. They're just going to keep going further and further and further. So if something like this happens, to anyone out there who may be watching, you got to just not. You got to just be like, all right, I'm not going to acknowledge it. This sucks, but whatever. You don't want to feed the trolls. That immediately is going to make your situation way worse. He should have just claimed the racist memes. Yeah, said it was his own. Said, actually, I did make them.
The fake comics and call out Shardy for their, yes, admittedly, shitty way of trolling, but to some of the fake comics and call out Shardy for their, yes, admittedly.
This is like the most insulted I've ever felt by something online. The entirety of Soyjack Party could do a draw pile of my Sona, and I would still feel maligned. And I would still feel much aligned than when Twitter artist number 71817328817 did this to my little guy. Yeah, once again, just acknowledging them in any way. Not good. Not good if you're getting trolled, bro. You gotta just, put the fire out. You're just adding more heat to it by doing this. You're, getting Soyjack Party to want to troll you more. Not only that, but you're also enlightening your audience to the presence of Soyjack Party so they can go on the site, and some of them will maybe like it and they'll agree with them, or some of them won't like it and they'll argue with them on the site, which is just not good. You just got to ignore this shit. You got to ignore it completely. You can't get involved.
Shitty way of trolling, but also accuse him of something the thread hadn't done yet. You see, at this point, the chat was slowly burning, but it exploded when Francis accused Soyjack Party of doxing him, when at this
Soy's actively trying to dox me, a 17-year-old. Wouldn't expect much less from that site. If y'all could provide any measures to prevent that, I'd be very grateful. The thing is, there's not really much you can do. If you're big enough on the internet, at some point, you might get doxed, right? It might happen. Generally, nothing really comes of it, but once again, acknowledging the people that are trying to go after you in any way is just not going to benefit you. You have to just not acknowledge it. There are things you can do, like, I don't know, change your email password, or you can, I guess, move if you really want to, but generally that's not necessary. The only approach you can really have is to shut up about it and deal with it privately. Acknowledging it publicly, this is what people who troll others want, right? I don't know if Soyjack Party actually did this to him. We'll have to see for the video, but realistically speaking, even acknowledging anyone who's trying to dox you in any way is not good. Whether you're a public figure or not, you got to just ignore it and fuck off.
At this point in the thread, it was focused on gemming up comics. After a couple of now deleted tweets concerning Soyjack Party and even more doxing accusations, ironically, the real doxing began, and they worked quick. Since Francis was still relatively young and inexperienced with the ways of the internet, he would regularly conduct commissions and other forms of business through his personal PayPal. This would be fine and dandy if his email did not contain his real name. As soon as one of the members of Shardy found this out, he quickly found his dad, his mom, and even his grandpa's obituary using the...
My question is, why would he announce his age, revealing more evidence to the doxers? Well, he obviously wasn't being very forward-thinking, Smaggle-Daggle. He obviously wasn't thinking about it very, very, very well, but yeah, that was obviously a major misstep, because that just provides more information, right?
The former to confirm where they lived. Everything was out in the open, from his parents' Facebook to his personal accounts, including his old Minecraft and Roblox videos. What makes things worse is that Shardy confirmed all of this was real after they messaged and called his dad, to which he actually responded and confirmed that Fallen Chungus' real name was Francis, like they found.
Maybe this is one piece of advice, I guess, would be to, he probably should have told his parents, hey, there's people who are maybe doing something bad to me online. They want to mess with me. Don't respond to any random phone calls. You know what I mean? You can kind of inform your parents. I guess another thing would be, I did this. If you're in threat of being doxxed, this is some old ass iDubbbz advice that I took. A lot of police departments back in the day didn't know what doxing was, or what swatting is more specifically, but a lot of them do now. So what you can do is you can, which I did, I called my local PD and I was like, hey, I'm a public figure guy. I do YouTube stuff. Doesn't really matter what I do, but sometimes people do crazy stuff online, so just want to let you guys know if somebody calls in a threat, just take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, I get you guys have to respond, but don't send in the death squad. And they were like, yeah, we know what swatting is. That's fine. And they totally got it. They totally understood. I never understood the implications behind doxing, because if people even knew your hometown and full name, your voter registration is just very public info and easy to find. I mean, the implication is like people don't want to be doxed because sometimes it's good to be anonymous online. You know, some people who are YouTubers, they don't want to have to, you know, if they hide their face, they don't want to have to go outside every day and have everyone recognize them. You know, they don't want to have to go outside every day and have people like talking about their YouTube stuff. They don't want to be a known entity in that way. And on top of that, there are risks that come from doxing. Like you can get swatted. It's rare, but it does happen. It does happen. So that's definitely a concern that people have, you know. Obviously swatting, as rare as it is, when it does happen, it's very, you know, stressful to deal with. It really gets the cortisol levels up. And on top of that, it can cause death sometimes. So that's obviously a concern. You know, just because you got doxed doesn't mean you'll get swatted, but it increases the likelihood necessarily.
The drama didn't end there, as Francis had a tendency to fall into dramas left and right for completely unnecessary reasons. For one of them, he was accused of being a chaser, which is essentially someone who fetishizes trans people. Admittedly, the thread that was accusing him was really bad, and the evidence was less than lackluster. A smarter, more internet-savvy individual will just ignore the thread as it was relatively self-contained to a small minority of people. Not Francis. He immediately responded by apologizing and having a heated exchange with his accusers. The main pushers of these allegations were Lennox Rhodes Real and High Tier Goddess, two users with an interesting history concerning Chungus.
No, I swear I don't like them. I swear I'm not attracted to trans girls. I'm not. I don't like them at all. They're gross. I mean, they're not gross. They're, you know, I just like real women. I mean, they are real women, but I just like, you know, cis women. I mean, I don't want to say cis because that's really mean. Once again, like just so many times I look at these cases and I just feel compelled to acknowledge the fact that so much of this could have been avoided if they had just shut up. Like if they just hadn't said anything, a lot of this could have been fine. Sometimes you just gotta ignore it. And I have sympathy for him because I think he was 17 when this started and then he turned 18. But generally speaking, it's better to just not acknowledge this kind of stuff going on. Even like the accusation of being a chaser. Like what does that even mean? Generally, I think it just means you like trans women. I mean, on Twitter and the Twitter art community, that's probably more of a virtue than anything else. So I don't see why that's even something that he had to go out and try to dispel. I think a lot of people, there's this concept called the death of the artist, right? And the concept is that when you put something out into the public consciousness, when you create a piece of art, whatever your original intention was immediately dies when you release it. And there is some truth to that in the way that when you're a public figure, a lot of people are going to speculate about you and say crazy shit. They're going to make crazy assertions. They're going to believe things that aren't true. And most of the time, acknowledging it in any way is just generally bad. Generally a bad thing. What's your maiden name? It's Hoktui. Hoktui. Thomas Hoktui. That's my name, dude.
Chungus. Essentially, the allegations were fabricated in order to defame Chungus after another user, Riki, allegedly attempted because of Chungus's actions. The entire drama was a mess, with Chungus constantly responding to Lennox and Goddess to the point where even his fans were.
They attempted to end their life because of Twitter drama? That's pretty dark, dude. That's pretty fucking dark. XQC's been doxxed a lot from what I know. I've seen him talk about it once, and I have to imagine it leaves someone with a case of paranoid anxiety at least. Yeah, for sure. I remember Ice Poseidon, he talked about how because he got doxxed, right, at some point, and he was getting swatted literally every day at some point for like weeks and months on end. He talked about the amount of paranoia he had about like standing up in the middle of the night and just getting shot through his window in the head by a cop. And I remember he was frustrated. He was like, why do the cops keep coming back? So he had a conversation with them and they were like, well, we have to respond to the call. It's protocol. We have no choice. So it's a really shitty situation to be in.
Started to get annoyed with how much he kept the drama going. It was nasty, with each exchange getting more and more concerning, with Lennox and Goddess constantly harassing him with death threats, not only on Twitter, but on Discord, with the occasional Discord raid. This drama would last for weeks, and on May 26, 2024, things came to a very concerning head. After another night of heated Twitter exchanges between all the parties, it seemed that Chungus had enough, and that same night, he posted his final statement on the drama and a video note. Obviously, this set Shardy and Twitter on fire for days.
I remember when this happened. You know, I still do feel kind of bad for him, even if he was being really dumb. I think at one point, dude, he's like basically a kid, so that's why I feel bad for him.
And that same night, he posted his final statement on the drama.
I think he's 18 at this point. But at one point, he was like mad at his aunt because his aunt was shit talking him, and he posted his aunt's like Twitter or Facebook and his Discord server. It was like, it's not doxing, it's a public account, but everyone go look at this. It was like, what the fuck? All right, I give up. Anything I was trying to build, it's over. I don't care about the money, the partnership, or even the fans anymore. There's no meds left in the house. My parents hid them, but I'll find another way to do it. I always do. At this point, even though I feel bad for him, if this is how the internet's making you feel, I think it's probably best to just not be online for a while. until you can have the mental strength to not respond this way and not take it so much to heart. Yeah, he was publicly fighting with his actual family. He was constantly tweeting like, my dad said this, my mom said this. Publicizing your family drama is typically not a good idea unless you're at direct risk of death at that moment. I just got here. Who did Big Chungus Tua? I would argue that Big Chungus Tua himself. PS, love the IRL vid. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it, bro.
Obviously, this set Shardy and Twitter on fire for days. Some users of Shardy were scared that they might have taken their trolling a little bit too far. Others were doubling down and
What did the post actually say? Okay, but wouldn't it be effed up if he actually did end his own life? I mean, I'm not going to moral F. It's a person like any other, but what really was the motive behind all this hate? I genuinely don't understand. Even if he did something wrong, like groom a minor or something, he seems like people just out of nowhere got the kicks from bullying him, no? That's what they're saying over here.
Others were doubling down and celebrating the attempt on Shardy, telling him that he deserved to die. Literally hours after the note was posted, concerned users contacted Francis's mom to see if Francis actually offed himself. Just an aside. Anyway, after some prodding, his mother finally responded, and her reaction was quite understandable.
I just spoke with his mother following a doxing on Soyjack party. He's alive, but is now banned from Twitter. Well, at that point, that's probably the best case scenario for the parents because they don't want to deal with all this public shit. If their son is getting a bunch of undeserved backlash, but he's handling it in the worst way possible and it's causing undue consequences to the entire family, I feel like that's all you can really do, right?
According to the leaked text, she had no idea what Francis was doing on Twitter, nor did she know that Francis had a serious or several serious mental issues. She even asked for the Soyjack party thread link to get a better picture of what her son was posting on the internet. Some contacted his dad, who was actually divorced from the family for about 5 years.
Is 4chan still popular? Not like it used to be. I'm pretty sure 4chan has pretty much died a little bit. I feel like the last time I went on 4chan, it seemed pretty fucking dead, and it was quite a while ago. Half of 4chaners get canceled or arrested. As funny as that is, that's just not the case. The majority of 4chan is pretty benign. It's not that crazy. There is a lot of stuff that's crazy that has happened on 4chan because there's a lot of anonymous users and they are able to, they think they can get away with saying certain things or espousing certain opinions or confessing to certain crimes because it's an anonymous message board on the website. So there is crazy stuff that's happened, but the majority of 4chan is boring, dude. The majority of 4chan is not that exciting. It's just like any other website. It's like Reddit. I used to use the O board of 4chan quite a bit. Auto. It's not dead. The active boards are active as always. You can tell who's been on the site within a year in this chat. I haven't been on in a year, so I was wrong. Seems like it's not dead at all. A lot of younger Gen Z frequent 4chan now. Really? I guess that makes sense. It's kind of it's like the alternative media of websites.
And pretty much knew just as much as his mom did.
He's also a huge gooner and Republican.
Immediately after hearing the news, Francis's mom took away his Twitter and other online accounts and forced him into a mental hospital for a certain amount of time so he can get his head straight. And that's where we thought it would end, really. On June 6, he would return to Twitter, giving his fans an update about his situation and proclaiming that he was retiring from his account and never coming back to Twitter. He wanted to turn his life around and focus on the things that he really loved, like game design and art. He then returned again on the 22nd, venting about how his mom was controlling his life by not letting him post on the internet anymore.
Okay, let's pause for a second.
We already know that Francis is more than a little unstable, and this is the moment that I think sort of made people flip on him. Believe it or not, he gained a lot of sympathy throughout the doxing and chaser allegations drama due to it genuinely not being anything of substance and it just seeming like a harassment campaign.
Well, yeah, I mean, he deserves that sympathy from the outside looking in for sure. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just a cringe Twitter artist who didn't take criticism or trolling and like hate well, right? He's not like a horrible person. The worst thing he did was cry about his mother taking away his internet access, which is like, there's this genre of people online, whenever their mom takes away their internet access, if they're like a kid, they're like, my mom is literally so abusive. She took away my Twitter account. She won't let me tweet anymore. It's like, man, that's not real abuse. That's an insult to people who actually get like hit by their parents. All right. Frankly, I think it's abusive to not take away your kid's internet access because most of the time, when a child is online and they have some kind of popularity, it's not a good thing. Very few of them handle it responsibly. The real tragedy is that his name is Francis. What do you mean? Frank is a cool name. Frankie, hey, yo. You should interview the Rizzler, also do the Charleston, big boy. I will not do the Charleston. Why is your name Turkey Tom do the Charleston Tom? Why is that your name on What is going on? You made a whole account just to say this? Interview the Rizzler? I mean, maybe I would interview him if, like, AJ and Big Justice were there, but I wouldn't want to just interview him alone, you know?
But there is always one consistent through line. Even if it isn't his fault, he chooses to continue to interact with these people instead of blocking or ignoring them. He also has a tendency to vent about very personal things on his main Twitter account that makes him a target for many people. So while his mom restricting his internet access and controlling his life may seem harsh, I do kind of understand her perspective, because Francis clearly can't handle the internet and his Twitter fame does not help that fact.
It's not even just you kind of understand their perspective. I 1000% agree with the mother's decision. Kids having access to the internet and spewing all of their personal drama online is generally a bad thing, right? Now, if the kid is getting hit by his parents and he's proclaiming, you know, by the top of his lungs, I need help, I'm being hit by my parents, that's one thing where obviously, you know, you can help him, get the police involved, stuff like that. But generally speaking, most of the time people are complaining about personal family drama online. It doesn't need to happen. It's not going to make the situation better. It's only going to make it worse. And especially when he's a public figure. And I think at one point, like I said, he was on Discord. He was like, here's my aunt's account. Like, that's just going to make it way worse. That's going to make the situation way worse. All of this could have been dealt with privately. Didn't you have unrestricted internet access? I wouldn't say that. My parents tried to restrict it the best they could. I just found ways around it because I'm crafty. But at the same time, generally speaking, I wasn't publicizing family drama or like the reason why I was mad at my mom that week. I wasn't like, my mom grounded me, guys, I'm fucking mad, you know? And if I had been, I would have deserved to get shit on. And my parents would have been rightfully mad about that. But yeah, publicizing family drama is generally not a good thing. And also, like, when I have kids, dude, when I have kids, which I will, okay, by 30 is the goal. By 30, I want to have children. I don't know if I'll even announce that I'm having kids online. And if I do, okay, those kids are not going to have internet access for 38 years. They're not going to be allowed. They will not be groomed on Discord by freaks. EPI people will not be getting to them. Furries will not be getting to them. My children will be raised on Christian gospel music only. They will not be listening to Marilyn Manson whatsoever, all right? Total moratorium. I'm recreating the satanic panic for my children. I had unrestricted internet access since 1999 and I became a VTuber. Do better with your kids. True. If your kid becomes a VTuber, you failed as a parent. My friend's 17-year-old daughter called the cops on him for shutting her phone off. That is hilarious. They're abusive. They're abusive, dude. They're not letting her use Snapchat. Please don't spread your Bulgarian genes. Oh, I will. It's my genetic imperative.
So just 1 week later, on the 29th, Francis was kicked out of his house by his parents because they found out that he was still using the internet when it was explicitly told to him that it was banned. Mind you, throughout all of this, Francis was not attending school. He didn't even...
This is even a thing I see, like, the majority of my audience is, at least based on YouTube stats, from the ages of like 18 to 35. Now, obviously, a lot of people lie about their age, but I think that's probably relatively accurate. You know, there are probably some outliers, but I don't think people lie about their age online as much as they used to. But I will say, once in a while, I'll get like an email or an Instagram DM that makes me like roll over. If I was dead, I'd be rolling over in my fucking grave. I'll remember this shit forever. People will send me shit like, my friend's mom was transphobic. You need to make a video about her. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Have you, first of all, the fact that you think I would care about that or make a video about it is insane. But secondly, you're asking me to expose your friend's mom on my YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers? Really? You think this is going to happen? You think I'm going to do this? That's a realistic expectation. I mean, they are kids, so it's like, give them a little leeway. But also, like, come on, bro. You want me to make an hour-long video about your friend's mom? Thanks, Bob. Seriously, you're going to get more of those now that you mentioned it? Yeah, but I'll get them ironically. There's also a lot of people who are like, hey, Tom, I found this file on Discord. You need to expose him. And it's like, man, call the police, dude. Call the cops. I make videos. Sometimes they're important. Sometimes there's an important subject. Sometimes I feel like they need to be talked about. But generally speaking, it's important to remember the majority of YouTube content is for entertainment and educational purposes. It is not going to be some kind of social movement. I am not going to dedicate my time to going on Discord and dealing with your personal situation where you think there's some kind of file on some random server that I never heard of. I'm not going to do that. Tell the police. Tell the cops. New video, the downfall and abuse of my dumb stepdad. Yeah, so that's coming out. The stepdad degenerates for my audience. Where is the Shaun the Horse documentary? Kamala Harris personally called me and said my YouTube channel will be deleted if I expose the truth about Shaun the Horse, so it's not happening.
Have a job. His tweets continued to paint his family as evil and uncaring, and from what initially was posted, it sure seemed like that was true.
Argued with my mom for the umpteenth time, and she dropped me off an hour away from the house. When I got there, they left a bag with my shit at the front door. At least I know now they don't give a fuck.
Instead of leaving the...
I mean, they probably do give a fuck. But like, you're causing an extreme amount of, I mean, inadvertently, you're encouraging an extreme amount of like harassment to your family by your actions. And you're also refusing to stop acknowledging the people who are trolling you. And on top of that, like you're getting into personal arguments and posting online about it. Like, why would they not want to kick you out? You're tweeting. Keep in mind, in the middle of you being doxxed and your identity being exposed, you're tweeting, hey guys, you know that dad that got doxxed? He did this. What do you think is going to happen to that? The people who support you are going to try to fuck up your dad's life.
The internet and figuring things out without thousands of eyes staring at him constantly, he would keep venting about his situation and even accuse his stepdad of being abusive in years prior. It got so bad that at one point he even considered sleeping over at a supposed fan's house for the time being until he found accommodation. While the situation at hand seemed terrible, another member of the Chungus family jumped into the fray, and that was his aunt, who seemed to have a different version of the story Francis told. After one of Francis's many rants, his aunt stepped in, essentially telling the family's perspective of the story, and it seemed very different. Francie Fournier replied to his homeless post with this message.
Leave your parents out of it or we're going to have a problem. Maybe look into anger management classes and a group setting where you can talk about your internet addiction.
She further extrapolated on her original post with another reply to an angry commenter who was criticizing the way that she handled the situation. She wrote this.
This child has been causing nothing but tension, heartbreak, and doing whatever he wants to get his way. His home life has been torn apart by his antics.
This is his aunt.
My sister is on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and the violent part of his personality has become more prevalent.
Dude, imagine being in Twitter beef with your fucking aunt. Imagine being in Twitter beef with your aunt and your stepdad. This is a place you never, if you ever find yourself at this point, you got to just quit. You got to just quit. Go get a job at Best Buy and you can get hired by Mr. Beast later, okay? Don't do this. Don't do this, man. Do not get involved. There's no benefit to publicizing personal family drama online, generally speaking, in 99.999% of cases, unless there's actually something absolutely insane going on, in which case the police need to be involved before the internet is.
Francis then, on his main account, quote tweeted his aunt and confirmed that it was actually her, and then began to disparage and debunk her claim.
And like, on one hand, she did tweet at him, so it's like, okay, she's publicly talking about it, but at the same time, he's the one publicizing the family drama in the first place, so obviously she might come online and see this, be like, why is my son slandering my sister to thousands of people? I need to respond here. I need to get involved.
Claims. Kind of. You see, on Francis's original homelessness thread, he painted a picture where his parents' overbearingness and abuse caused the following.
For anyone wondering, my mom has essentially been controlling my entire life since I got home. Even now, making this tweet is a gamble on whether I get kicked out of the house or not. I do not care. I just wanted to realize going cold turkey on the internet won't help me. It will. Going cold turkey on the internet will actually help you. It will. Also, it's your mom. Her job is to control your life. Her job is to be like, fuck off if you're being crazy. That is what she's supposed to do. If she wasn't, she would be a much worse mother.
Not once throughout his initial rant did he ever mention violence on his own behalf, nor take accountability for disobeying his parents' orders to stay off the internet. Mind you, the internet is the entire reason why he tried to off himself. So
and at the end of the day, this is just like normal, like relatively normal, indignant teenager shit, right? A lot of people, you know, have their phases where they're like, my mom sucks. I definitely had that when I was like 15, 16, you know? Fuck you, mom. But when you put it online, it just makes it so much worse. You can't be doing that, man.
Completely makes sense that they banned it for him because he clearly can't handle it. I would also like to point out the fact that, again, he is 18 years old and not attending school nor working from what I can gather, so I understand a little bit of the frustration his parents have that their 18-year-old son is not attending any form of education nor trying to get a job and is rot-maxing all day on his phone. He then, in another follow-up post, further explains his actions, and it doesn't seem better. He confirmed it wasn't the first time he disobeyed.
I don't know why my own blood is now setting out to paint me as a villain, but I will make myself very clear before other claims are made. Well, the thing is, whether they're right or not, whether you're right or not, they're doing it because you have been tweeting about the family drama publicly. That's why. You never would have been in this situation if you just hadn't talked about it. This situation isn't black and white. I've messed up on almost all fronts, but my family's been arguably handling shit worse. Whether I effed up or not, it was their choice to leave me stranded and destitute in a dangerous city over arguments that resulted from their actions and behaviors. Once again, I feel like the arguments actually probably stemmed from maybe they did something you didn't like, and you then decided to publicize it. You then decided to publicize it online for everyone to see.
His parents' orders to stay offline, and that he was threatened once before that if he continued his actions, he would get kicked out. And well, to no one's surprise, he got kicked out for going online just like his parents told him and warned him. The back and forth went on for a couple of days afterwards, with his aunt alluding to the fact that Francis had a short temper and that he has been given every opportunity to improve his life, but he gets in the way of it by not being able to listen to simple orders and stay off the internet and focus on other things. While Francis claims that he is imperfect, he also claims that his parents are even worse than him for letting him go homeless in the first place over arguments that to him were their fault because he needs the internet for his career path. Users commenting inside the thread were very skeptical about Chungus's claims, since he had a tendency to over-exaggerate or even outright lie about certain things in his life to make himself seem like a victim. And I can't really blame them. His initial thread about homelessness makes him seem like a total victim. I mean, who kicks out their kid over an argument? But adding more context to the situation makes the ordeal much more gray, and that context was not given to us by Chungus, and it had to be given by—
It's like, keep in mind, think about being like the father or being the mother here, okay? Your 18-year-old son refuses to get a job, doesn't make any money, spends all day on Twitter being mentally ill, arguing with freaks. He then gets doxxed. He then takes it very poorly and publicizes the fact that it happened, which makes it worse. And then he starts arguing about family drama on Twitter, tweeting about it constantly. Like, what other situation are you in when he's causing undue stress to the entire family? It's a very annoying thing to deal with, you know? I feel bad for him getting kicked out. Maybe that wasn't the best solution, but it's kind of tough to act any other way in this specific situation, I think.
By his family, who by all accounts don't need nor want internet clout. There is also the fact that Chungus, even before the doxing and the attempt, would constantly bait or leaving the internet when he was getting hate, only to come back a couple of weeks later and act like nothing happened. Instead of leaving the internet for good and patching things up in private with his mom.
Did your stepdad beat you? No, worse, he ratioed me. Oh my God. Listen, guys, I have faced a form of abuse that you would never be able to even comprehend, okay? I've known a lot of people who have had step parents that have put them in abusive situations, all right? Some of them beat them. Some of them touch them where they don't want to be touched. But my dad, he ratioed me on Twitter. And at that point, I knew I couldn't go on any longer. Shut up. Get offline, bro. Fallen Chungus, I believe in you. I like your comics. I hope you've learned your lesson here, okay? This does not have to be your legacy. You can push on. You can become one of the greatest Twitter meme artists of all time.
An aunt, he drops that his stepdad beat him and that his mom
just get a house. Why are you homeless? So true. If you're homeless, just get a home. This is what I've been saying.
Is being manipulated by him. He put this on the internet. The fact that he was allegedly abused to get a one-up on a random Twitter comment criticizing him.
Jesus Christ.
What's even crazier is that at the end of his post, he says to stop asking for specifics, even though he was the one who voluntarily told the internet he was being beaten by his stepdad. The drama left Twitter and then entered his Discord, where a leaked message showed that one of his members found his aunt's phone number
and if he was actually being beaten by his stepdad, I feel bad for him. That really sucks. This is the point where, like, you can actually start to express sympathy for him once again. I still think the better solution would have been to, call the cops about it, ultimately, which can be a complicated situation because sometimes, you call the cops and then they can't do anything about it and then the situation gets worse. So if that is happening, I do feel bad for him, obviously. There's no denying that.
And business account on Yelp. While this was public information as it was available on her business site and Facebook, the response—
Sentimental Thomas cringe. I'm not sentimental. Can I not feel bad for somebody who gets punched by their stepdad? Or if that happened, can I not feel bad for the idea of child abuse? Okay. That's called being normal.
Thing for Chungus to do would be to dissuade his fanbase and make an announcement, telling people not to contact her and possibly even apologize publicly for letting things get out of hand. Yeah, no. He decided to @ everyone on his server, telling them he was fine with them calling her and trolling her, tacking on at the end of the message to not dox her, which is fucking dumb. He then proceeded to double down on Twitter, claiming that since her information is publicly available, that it's not his fault if she's doxed and harassed, since—
Well, yeah, but this is the same argument for pro-doxing of him. The information they found was publicly available, right? All they did was post it. All you're doing is, oh, she's publicly posting about it, my aunt. All I did was post about it in a Discord server to signal boost it. It's like, well, obviously you're drawing attention to it, which is making the situation worse. Whether you want to get semantic and be like, oh, it's not technically doxing. It's like, well, you're still making the drama worse by publicizing this information and encouraging people to go talk about it. Use your personal info to fuck with her, but don't share it. Yeah, exactly. What does he even think is going to happen here? Okay, ops dox my aunt. Literally, dude.
He can't control what people do. It seems that he completely lost the irony that that's exactly what Shardy did to him. And well,
yes,
we know where that went. While all of this is happening, in the background, other controversies were brewing. Even before the homelessness arc, in fact, in the middle of all of this drama on June 27th, Pumpkin the Gentleman, an infamous gooner Twitter account who you probably know from this meme or just the mountains of allegations against him, tweeted out Fallen Chungus' alt account, That's Frungo.
Also, FYI, my buddy Fallen Chungus is a new alt as an outlet for his art and stuff, so go check out and follow if you can. I've never heard of this Pumpkin guy, I don't think I know anything about him. Twitter is just a cesspit. Ever since Tumblr banned porn or whatever they did, they had some kind of big crackdown on porn. You know, on one hand, I get it, business decision, but at the same time, all those people just came to Twitter. All those people just came to Twitter and effed it up there.
In now deleted posts, Francis would spend hours on his alt account, liking obesity fetish that yes, included
Oh no, dude. Obesity fetish. That makes my head hurt. Oh. How do you get into this? Jesse G in chat says actually base. No, it's not. This is not base. This is freaky. This is not good. If you get to that point, you probably have to acknowledge that there's something really wrong with you psychologically. You are a mentally ill, crazy person if you're into that.
This wouldn't necessarily be a problem if not for the fact that the original That's Frungo account was a normal alt account where he just reposted normal art and talked with his mutuals. Obviously, this was a problem, as the minors following his original account opened their feed the following day only to find fart fetish porn. Instead,
this is what I'm saying. There's no benefit to posting porn online ever. There's no benefit. You feel your own fetishes. You expose it to people who don't want to see it. There's no benefit to just posting porn constantly online. Just don't do that. Do not do that, man. Get away from it.
Instead of putting up a warning or PSA before immediately switching to 18+, he went on a rant about how he is not liable for minors following his account, but discourages them from looking. While he is correct, you can't control what everyone does, why not ease into the fetish stuff and try to mitigate the amount of...
Or just don't. Why not ease into it? Why not post it? Because there's something bad about that. Why not just not do that? You're sick. You need help. Stop gooning. Tom, you don't know what you're missing until you flow with the rolls. Dude, I'd never want to hear anything like that ever again. I'm not flowing with the rolls. No flowing. No rolling. None of that. No flowing with the rolls. No riding the wave. Absolutely not. Tom, anti-BBW confirmed. True, I am. I am anti-BBW. 1000%. We're pushing back against the BBW situation. BBW situation is cringe.
Minors following the account before you full on switch to the goon section.
It's just more to love, dude. It's just more to love. She's obese! She needs help! She eats McDonald's every day. Help her.
Well, the alt didn't really last that long, as one of the members of Shardy found the account and Francis immediately caught wind of it and deleted it before anything could happen. By the end of June, most of the drama died down and people started losing interest. There was a brief stint, or a couple of stints, where Francis said he would quit and then proceed not to quit, or again post a video or tweet saying that he was going to sell. It became such a common cycle that it got to the point where instead of replies wishing him well, he would get people essentially ignoring him, making memes about him, or calling his bluff. This continued until September 6, 2024, where on another Shardy thread, they decided to troll him once again. A user revealed that they obtained the password to Fallen Chungus' account after sending him a phishing site in the form of fart fetish.
They baited his IP with fart fetish porn, and he took the bait, he clicked on it. This is like comical levels of stupidity. Obviously, it's not nice that they fished him. That's not cool, but like, just don't click random links in your email, bro. What is going on? Come on. You wouldn't lick the sweat pockets in the fat room? No, I would not, Pennywise. What is wrong with you people? Stop! We said stop gooning and you just started gooning even harder.
According to the post, a member of the thread disguised himself as a gooner on his Discord and sent Francis the game through DMs. Upon clicking the link, the game would ask for a Twitter handle and a password, to which he would actually put in his real information.
No!
To the thread's detriment, though, the account was protected by two-factor authentication, so they weren't able to get in. That didn't stop Francis, though, as he found out about the thread 10 hours later and unsurprisingly wasn't too happy about it.
Let me guess, he posted about it publicly and made it worse.
At first, he played it surprisingly cool and denied that his information was compromised. It didn't really last that long. In a now deleted Twitter post, he directed his fans to the thread that had his password and information on it.
Hey guys, people are exposing my info right now. I'm having my identity stolen from me. I'm having my info stolen from me. This is where it's happening. Hey, thousands of people who follow me on Twitter, this is where it's happening. Go look at this. What does he expect to happen? Does he think the post is going to get taken down or something?
Small isolated issue into one concerning thousands of his fans raiding a thread and getting a peek at his password. 3 hours later, after what I could only imagine were hundreds of emails flooding his inbox at once, reading along the lines of,
Hey, someone wants to log into your account.
he took down his Twitter post and nuked the entire discourse from his Twitter.
If she's not 280, she's not a lady? Dude, stop! 280 is so fat. Whoa. If she ain't 440, she ain't my shorty. Stop!
Although things have slowed down, the saga of Fallen Chungus continues to this day, as many smaller dramas have occurred since then too. To beefing with random YouTube channels or Twitter randoms and gimmick accounts, it's been a long and winding road. As of late, the actual Fallen Chungus account doesn't even belong to Francis anymore. You see, in another stroke of genius, he decided he wanted to sell the account for a quick buck and an opportunity to finally rid himself of this plague that's been haunting his life once and for all. While we don't know exactly how much he was selling it for, somebody eventually bought the account by scamming him. Kind of. You see, according to some Discord screenshots, he actually successfully sold the account, but then days later changed his mind and claimed to have a mental breakdown, which during that crash out, he abruptly, without warning, sent back the money the guy gave to him and begged him to deactivate the account.
The fact that he's so unable to ignore it, even though clearly there's got to be a bunch of people who, not only on Twitter and YouTube, but also in his DMs, like personal buddies he has online, because I'm sure he's got a bunch of them. There's definitely a lot of people who have been like, dude, just get offline. Don't do this anymore. The fact that he can't stop himself, I think, means that he's probably not mentally well enough to be online at all. I think he should just quit, get himself mentally right, get a normal job for a while, and then come back to Twitter if he wants to in the future, if he thinks he can mentally handle whatever's going on. You can have sympathy for him because he's young, obviously, and he is somewhat unstable, so there should be sympathy there. But at the same time, like, in real life, nobody's going to feel bad for you when you fuck up like this, you know? Or how bad they feel for you is not going to outweigh the negative consequences of your actions. So he just needs to get offline for a while, man. You haven't lived until you've had to get the flour out to find the wet spot in the full... Stop! Hey, Tom, who'd you rather spend 24 hours for $1 million with? Summer from Fish Tank or just a minx? You're in a house and you can't leave? Probably just a minx, because at least that will get more views.
Account. The guy, however, just blocked him and changed the email. The account now is run by some random guy who literally just got an almost 100,000 follower Twitter account completely for free by doing absolutely nothing. And if he plays his cards right, he has a good ticket to start an online presence. It's funny, if you look at the replies at some of the newer Fallen Chungus' posts that are made by this random guy, they're getting more popular and more positive reactions than when it was Francis. It's almost like
Yeah, probably because this guy, once again, death of the artist. The art speaks for itself. The artist is irrelevant now. It doesn't matter. If there's a role, there's a goal. Okay.
people don't really like him that much anymore. I know Twitter's a volatile space, but damn, to make that many enemies? But that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the story ends for now. From what I've found, he's seemingly doing better and has improved his relationship with his parents, and he's even moved back in. He has a job, and he hopes to continue to make content online and hopefully turn it into a career. Right now, if you want to know what he's up to, he's currently working on a video game on Roblox called the Agony Arena, and while it's not my cup of tea, at least it's something rather than nothing. Either way, remember, he is still a human and a person at the end of the day, and he deserves a little bit of sympathy because, come on, he was just a stupid kid who did stupid stuff on the internet, and he's getting a little bit too much hate for that. Well, anyway, see you guys later.
If there's a role, there's a goal? Bruh, no. So I just checked on Twitter the Fallen Chungus account, and for some reason, this account follows me. Do I follow back? I feel like something bad might happen to me if I follow this account back. They're posting about Yakub. Follow at Bade Llama. They dope as fuck. What is going on? Well, I hope that Fallen Chungus is the real Fallen Chungus, not this imposter, this sussy imposter. I hope the real Fallen Chungus manages to have a successful Roblox gaming career. Fallen Chungus is ultimately a very cautionary tale. The cautionary tale about the dangers of online fame when you're young and you can't handle it. The dangers of not responding well to situations. Because ultimately, the majority of, public figures do go through something similar to what he went through. But life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you handle it. I think that's completely true in most situations. So you need to just handle this kind of stuff better, man. Handle it better, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Rest in peace to Fallen Chungus.